communication specialists like myself are always telling you to share more, but today's message is shut the hell up. That's what we're unpacking today at Black Ram Media's podcast, Gaining Ground. My name is Daniela Sigia, and I'm Chief Strategist and Creative Director of Black Ram Media Group, Inc., and thank you for joining us today. So why is a communication specialist telling you to shut up? We're talking about two specific glitches today. One of them is coming from internal baggage you haven't resolved that's making you publicly act like a jerk, and you may not be aware that you're doing it. So we're going to make sure that we're not doing that today. The other thing is the addiction to being the devil's advocate. That's another glitch we're going to talk about today. So basically, we live in this world right now. This is the share my truth generation, where everybody feels that not only are they entitled to say what's on their mind, but they feel as though people are obligated to have to listen, especially as it pertains to social media and brands and ads and businesses and how people will talk about businesses online. And, it feels very anonymous, especially when you're talking about a product. So you don't actually see a person you're attacking online, but a product or a business. You feel even more entitled or safer to do it because you don't feel like you're attacking a person. But what you're forgetting is that there's people behind the product, there's people behind that business that are taking really big risks and putting themselves in a real serious place of vulnerability to start this business in the first place, which ultimately the country benefits from. Half of our economy, half of the people employed in Canada are in small family-owned businesses. So we need these businesses. So when you see somebody opening a business, you should be kissing their feet. But instead, we've become so cynical and so critical as a populace that we're not looking for benefits. We're looking for things to criticize. And again, we feel entitled and obligated, or we obligate other people to have to listen to our shitty opinions. And you think, well, if I don't like a product, I should be able to say it if I don't like a product, and sure. But you having to say that, who's actually benefiting, right? Because you're not doing it to help the brand get better. Because if you really wanted the brand to succeed, you wouldn't be trolling them publicly. You'd be sending them private messages that say, hey, you could do this better. So if you're trolling them publicly, you're not actually wanting to help them. You're just being an asshole. And if you have a company that has treated you horribly, or, they're really, really bad, or they're a ripoff, or dangerous, or whatever, then sure, maybe I understand negative commentary online, and social media is a good place for you to get resolution when you've been ignored by a brand over an issue, let's say. But if you're just being critical for the sake of being critical, that's probably because you have an addiction to a dopamine rush that you get every time you do or say something that makes you feel smug. So you've become addicted to feeling smug. So then you will say things and then you'll justify it by, well, I was being witty. You're not being witty, you're being an asshole. I don't care how witty it is, you're still a jerk, right? So if you feel the need, or you're getting some kind of sick satisfaction by going around just trolling people because that's what you like to do, then, you have an issue. And that's not a great way to walk through the world at all. And you might want to look at that just for your own quality of life, because you've now become the negative thinker that's looking for things to criticize everywhere. And this comes into play when we're dealing with the devil's advocate type personality. Especially in communications, I'm always playing devil's advocate. So whenever we're thinking about some kind of messaging, I will, of course, think about how my target market will perceive what I'm about to say. But especially in politics, I'm actually thinking about what the opposition is going to say to this. So I will think like an opposing party and tear my messaging apart so that I know that my messaging is rock solid and can't be misinterpreted or spun or twisted in a different way. But some personalities like to play devil's advocate every time. You could have the perfect message, you could have the perfect plan, but I'm just going to play devil's advocate. And you're going to find that personality is always devil's advocate, to the point that you can't even discuss, I want to eat a chicken burger instead of a regular burger today. Well, you got to wonder, why do you want to eat that chicken burger? Just because I want fucking chicken. You know what I mean? Not everything has to be dissected. And you will find that some personalities have to do that by default. That's their default operating system, is to play devil's advocate all the time. And let me tell you what that distortion comes from. That comes from a deep-seated insecurity that you don't feel smart enough unless you're seeing things that you perceive other people don't. So by you saying, everybody likes this, but I'm going to be the opposing voice and find the flaw, then I'm smarter than all the people that didn't see that flaw, even if I'm inventing a flaw to project onto the thing so that I could feed my ego by saying, I'm smart. What you're doing there is you're validating yourself to yourself, but nobody else. So although you might feel that you're intelligent, as you're able to see these nuances that you feel other people didn't see, to the people around you, you're just a contrarian. Oh, there they go again. Of course they find something wrong because that's what they do. And that's the person you are to these people. They don't say, oh, so-and-so so smart because, you could be sure that they're going to find the issue, right? No. What they're saying is that guy's an asshole and he has to argue with everybody because he feels smarter when he's contrarian. Do you really want to be that guy? So I'm not saying never play devil's advocate in certain functions. That's a very vital role. But understand the time and place for that. And if you find yourself consistently being the devil's advocate or something you're constantly doing, then maybe you have an insecurity you need to deal with. Or again, an addiction to being a contrarian. Some people like that. And to the point that it becomes, overcompensating. So do it a little bit, you end up doing it all the time. When you do it all the time, you lose credibility and lovability also. So again, analyze your own behavior. The people that do the most criticizing of other people or other brands are the ones that are the most messed up and should be doing, if you would spend more time introspecting on your own, foibles, as you do criticizing everybody else, you'd be a far happier, better person. Because who wants to walk around negative and seeing the negative in everything all the time? And if you have the impulse to have to troll people's Facebook pages or brands or products' Facebook pages because it makes you feel good to say something negative, even if it's really witty, that's a serious problem. You want to look at that. We have a local restaurant in town, a Mexican restaurant, and very popular. People like it. And one guy went on there and said, wow, I'm from Texas. We know Mexican food, and this was not the most authentic Mexican. But you just let people eat their taco? Like, seriously? How is that helpful to anybody? If I go somewhere and I don't like the food, I just don't go back. I don't make it a point to go on social media to say that this Chinese restaurant wasn't that authentic. Come on. Seriously, unnecessary. Unnecessary. I will spend more time looking for brands on social media to compliment them when I get good service or enjoy a wonderful meal than I do looking for a brand to complain about them. If I want to complain about them, I just won't use them anymore. And notice I say I won't use them anymore. I'm not saying I'm going to make sure nobody else uses them too, because again, unless they're ripping people off or doing something untoward, what do you care whether or not somebody chooses to wear those shoes or not because you don't like it, right? It's ridiculous. So the fact that you would take the energy to go find the brand so you can say that the curls weren't as good as the commercial said the mousse was going to work on your hair, like, you have a problem. You have a serious problem. So what I'd like is for people to be more gracious. And when you're seeing startups especially, they're going to make mistakes. A startup will. It's part of the process is failing. So they're going to put out ads that don't work. They're going to, do something late shipments or whatever the thing is. They're trying to get their stuff together. Do you really need to go and trash them every chance you get? These people that are just trying to create jobs for your community, how are you being of benefit going around criticizing them? Maybe a new startup couldn't afford a website or they don't have what it takes to build their own, so they decide to use social media. They post in a group and you're like, well, you don't even have a website. Shut up. Shut up. So, so when you feel the need to criticize everywhere all the time, understand that is not an indication of your intelligence. That is an indication that you have an ego glitch that could be redirected in somewhere a little bit more positive. We did a commercial not long ago for a brand that wholesales healthcare products, a natural healthcare product. Doctors don't normally carry this type of product. RMTs, physiotherapists, chiropractors, that's the target market. So when we created the ad, that's what we focused on. And I had a doctor come on. Well, you don't show as many doctors as you do chiropractors because doctors aren't the target market. Shut up. And that's because in this situation, they had baggage. They had personal baggage because, as doctors often do, they don't feel like they're held to the same, they don't want to be compared to what they consider lesser than practitioners, right? So they want to always stand apart or whatever, which means with some people, like this person, goes to the point that they can't see a picture of a physiotherapist or a nurse without getting angry. Now, in this situation, the brand didn't do anything wrong by focusing on their target markets, exactly what you're supposed to do. But the fact that this person felt excluded, that's their problem. Absolutely, that's their problem. That's not the brand that did anything wrong, right? So don't feel like you need to change your messaging every time somebody from the peanut gallery jumps in with a stupid comment. That was a stupid comment. Right? You have a problem with moms and somebody posts an ad about a mom and you get all upset. That's your problem. The brand didn't do anything wrong. So stop projecting your own bullshit onto other brands and expect that they have to kowtow to your unresolved damage. It's your responsibility to heal your trauma. And if you can't, then it's your responsibility to shut the hell up and not spew your negativity all over the world just because you're miserable. You want everybody else to be miserable. That's not cool. And brands don't have to tolerate it. So when you're seeing someone on your page giving you criticism, the first thing always is to listen, because what if they're right? Take that advice and do better. But if they're not right, or they're projecting their own crap, you delete it. You don't give it a second thought. You certainly don't let it ruin your day. And that is the message for today. Basically, don't be a jerk. Stop being an asshole. It doesn't make you look smart. That's the overarching message of the day. Okay, everybody. On that note, go get them. I look forward to seeing you again soon. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to unpack further, please feel free to reach out at Daniela at blackrammediagroup.com. And see you next time.